Everybody. Okay, it's going to be a real short one tonight. I know I say that every week, but yeah, we've got to make this one reasonably short tonight. Just going to cover a few things. Um, First of all, as some of you know, Facebook had blocked out access to the admin access for the group and so forth. Good news is they finally released it. So luckily they didn't delete all the posts, so we've got all our advocacy posts back up on the Vape Distortion group page on Facebook, and all the members are still there, and we've got access again. So now we have a secondary admin access just in case they pull it again. But that's good news. Bad news is they decided to make my own personal account saying, oh, it needs to be a Facebook page. I accidentally clicked the link. It's turning it into a page. I'm losing all my own personal account stuff. So, Facebook is frustrating. Anyhow, main thing is we did not lose the information on the Vape Distortion group page on Facebook. And there's a ton of it, and it's really needed right now with everything happening in the industry. So, that's item number one. Item number two, and this is one of the reasons why it's going to be pretty short tonight. For those of you who don't know, in Canada, the federal government are putting together policies to legislate vape product, just like the FDA did in the US. But so it's Canada's turn at the federal level. They've been doing it at the provincial level and basically classifying it as tobacco and so forth. But now it's going to be done at the federal level. And I don't care what you've heard from certain groups about who are saying that, oh, this is a great deal, really good legislation for all of us. We did a great job negotiating it for everyone. Either they're incredibly naive and inexperienced, or else somebody sold us down the river, because it's not as good as the pretense is out there. Let's just put it that way. Not going to go into details yet at this point, but the main problem is some of the legislation in there is warranted and needed, but it's how it was done and how it's worded and which classifications it's placed in. And that opens up a huge can of worms. And although they even say that, oh, flavors aren't going to be banned, we're just going to be restricting certain things on certain flavors that appeal to kids, the usual argument. Once legislation is in there, it's very easy to be modified afterwards to expand it. And not only that, but it now gives it, well, it hasn't passed yet. It's gone for first reading, but it's called Bill S-5, and I'll get into that a little bit. As a matter of fact, let me just pop over here. So, you can go on the Vape Distortion group page, and it's listed in there along with some few thoughts on different clauses. But what it also does is then gives the power to the provincial levels, which is for the people in the U.S. That's sort of like your individual states, ours are provinces. So they would no longer have to try even classifying it as tobacco, because a lot of it's being dropped in there. We also have categories being dropped under medical now. And it's been, you've heard Health Canada say, oh, we haven't approved it, we haven't authorized it, it's illegal in Canada, which was bullshit because they didn't have jurisdiction. Well, now they're going to have jurisdiction once this goes through. Anyhow, first reading came through about midweek, and then on, on Friday, they were going to do second reading, and the Senate said we stand. So it's just been postponed or put on hold, tabled, pretty much. Currently, it's on schedule for this coming Monday, which Monday will be the 21st. Hopefully, it'll get tabled again so that we can get a bit more done. But that's why I got to keep things short. A few things we're working on, hoping that we can at least do a little bit of damage control on time for when they debate it in the Senate. Go to the website. You'll be able to click through. It's got the information on there as well. And yeah, it's not as pretty as it sounded. Anyhow, I'll be covering more of that as it goes along, but perfect question, especially for the timing. When I announced on the Facebook group that finally caught up with all the members, and we were down for a week. Facebook blocked our access from doing anything, so we got rid of the spam posts, got all the new members. Shout out to Pacific Clouds. They brought in about 200 or 300 more members to at least keep track of the advocacy with us. So much appreciated. So anyhow, caught up on that. And there's so much happening with taxes and everything in the States that I had to put things off for about a week. I mean, I was just so worn out from the Facebook thing. And I was going to get to that. And then this bill S-5 for the Senate in Canada hit. And it's major. Like I said, it goes into second reading. It's scheduled, it was for Friday, tabled. Now it's scheduled for Monday. Hopefully it'll get tabled again. But yeah, it's going to second reading already. So, yeah, that's not good. Read through it. Don't go by what people are telling you, oh, here's what's intended by that, or here's what it means. That has no bearing in law. What matters is what it actually says and where things are being categorized. Because guess what? Most of these clauses, which were covered in consumers' goods, are now being pulled into tobacco and into medical. So take it with a grain of salt, make your own decisions. We'll cover more as we get more information, as we hear the debates in the Senate House and so forth. We are going to be tuning into that, so keep track of that. But anyhow, what I was going to mention was a great question from Jonathan Clark. After explaining all the advocacy stuff and everything that's happening, he just asked, hey, just wondering how to get involved. I'd like to help out. Now, it might seem like a blanket question, but there's so many aspects of it, and it's absolutely critical, and it's great to hear somebody even curious about it. The best thing you can do right now, if you're in Canada especially, you may not understand it, but read up on the bill S-5. From certain groups, if they say it's fantastic, it's fantastic. Take that with a grain of salt. Don't automatically dismiss what they're saying, but take it with a grain of salt and pay attention to what's happening. The best way you can actually get involved, especially at the consumer level, is talk to your local shops. When you go into your shops, ask them how much they know about this bill S-5, the legislation coming up. Ask them what they know about the provincial regulations. Ask them about the flavoring restrictions that are coming up. In other words, ask them questions. If they don't know if they don't understand what's going on, then you really need to get them, bring them up to speed, whether point them to the group, point them to any of these videos. But they've got to get in touch with what's happening, because things are about to get heated here. The other thing you can do is talk to other vapors, other smokers, bring them up to date on some of the advocacy issues. Now, you don't have to know everything about advocacy. But if you can get somebody even interested or point them to the information, if you have somebody who is dead set against vaping, let them know, check into some information. Don't have arguments with them, but kind of lead them in the direction of, well, here's where you can start getting some information. Now, the absolute best thing you can do, and this is going to become critical, especially once Bill S-5 is going to pass. One way or another, it's going to pass. There's no stopping it. It's too late to stop it. But when it does pass, provinces are going to be looking at really turning up the heat on vaping, no pun intended. And basically a lot is going to start getting restricted. So what you really got to do is talk to your vape shops. If they know and understand what's happening with Bill S-5, and not what they've been told by the groups and everything, where they actually understand what's happening, not just in Canada, but in the US with the FDA, with the recent World Health Organization and FCTC and COP7. And if they know what's going on, see if they would mind talking with their MPs, if necessary. And here is the best thing you can do. Contact your local MP, the representative, whether at just the provincial level or the federal level, either way, get a hold of them. Now, what you want to do is try and get a meeting, but it doesn't have to be directly with them. As a matter of fact, what works better, and it's much easier to get the attention of, ask to speak to their staffers. Try and get a meeting. You'll probably be given about a 15-minute slot, but if you get with the staffers, you might even get half an hour to an hour, and they're much more open-minded. They haven't got as many other processes automatically on the go nonstop so they can give you a bit more focus, and just talk to them about vaping. Talk to them about realities. And if your shop is aware of all the stuff happening, and like I said, not just in Canada, but the US and so forth, in other words, they're advocacy supportive and aware, see if you can get one of them to come down and explain how the regulations can affect their businesses, how the restrictions affect their business. Talk with a staffer. They have the ear of your MP, and you catch their attention, they will push the agenda, and hopefully they'll bring you in for another meeting, or the shop owner or whoever represents, and they'll show up. That is by far the best thing you can do. Nobody really wants to contact government agencies, or I can't be bothered with my MP, or I don't know who to call. Look it up. It's that important. At the local level, they're much more receptive to their constituents. So don't put it off. Check this week. Check the beginning of the week if you have to. Find out who your rep is. Find out where the nearest shops are. Visit a couple of them. Just make a call and ask for a meeting with the staffers about the vape issues and the regulations coming in. If you can give them a little bit of information, you don't have to give them the whole vaping history, but if you can catch their attention, then maybe, just maybe, it'll reach the MP, and the MP will at least be able to bring you in or somebody else to represent. If you're not comfortable talking to them, bring somebody who is and understands the vaping issues. And then we might actually have some debate in-house. Might not stop things, won't stop it at the provincial level, but there can be a lot more leniency. And with these federal regulations come in, we might actually be able to undo some damage afterwards. So, absolutely critical. Even if you've never met them, if you don't care about their party and everything, drop them an email. Say, can I have 15 minutes of your staffer's time to talk about an issue that's important to you, to the community, and how it'll affect the community and the businesses there. In seriousness, that is the best thing you can do. And follow on with the advocacy things. Like I said, you don't have to understand everything, but the more you're aware of what's going on, the better prepared we are. And like I said, it is going to be a big battle. Another thing you can check out is I put together an article of one of our biggest foes is vapor apathy. For instance, no, I can't be bothered calling the MP, or, well, I really don't want to get involved. I'd kind of pay attention to it. That's good enough. Or I filled out a poll and a survey online, so I've done my part. Vapor apathy is our biggest killer. If you look right now, there's tons of misleading, misreporting, misinformation, because the ants don't stop. They're looking to get us while we're busy, and we don't care. And that's when they hit the media hard. So I've put together an article, and let me just switch over here. Just called Vapor Apathy, Supports Anti-Vaping Laws, and that's on the Vape Distortion website, so vapedistortion.com. Give that a quick read through. It's not too long, but it gives you an idea of what not doing anything will, how that'll affect things. One more thing you can do as a consumer, and this is real simple, is there's a group called THRA, Tobacco Harm Reduction Association, and they're a consumer-based group. And what I'm going to do is, in the video at the bottom here, I'll include their Facebook group page. Join them, listen to them, and then actually you can actually go right to their site as well and get a bit more information. But yeah, just join up with the THRA, the Tobacco Harm Reduction Association consumer group. They're always looking for people in there, very knowledgeable. They've got international contacts as well. So THRA for the consumers is basically going to be the front line of fighting back against a lot of these regulations. Like I said, we can't stop Bill S-5. One of the vape organizations kind of made sure of that. It's going through. No ifs, ands, or buts. It will go through at the federal level. So we have to start looking at the fight afterwards, protecting the provincial level, protecting especially the local level. Bylaws can be passed very, very quickly. If you haven't found out what your local, like city or county or whatever your local bylaws are, check their agenda for meetings. Check each week to see if they've got something coming up, because it's very easy for them to slip in something that says tobacco or smoking or whatever, or restrictions, and you want to make sure that your voice is heard there. And that's something that the big groups can't be watching every little spot. So if you spot something like that, or something happening like they've done in the States, they had bills that were being passed that nobody knew about, somebody caught last minute, put word out, bang, all the vapors managed to get there, get it stopped. You are the eyes on the ground for your local level. And like I said, THRA, Tobacco Harm Reduction Association, they're for the consumers groups. So yeah, that's, in honesty, that's the best place to start. Your MPs, just get a short little meeting. Doesn't have to be fancy. You aren't trying to cover everything. You just want to meet with them, develop that rapport so that they're a little more receptive. Most of them don't even understand that this is what the government's also calling an e-cigarette. And no, it's not the same as smoking. They don't understand that your businesses are going to be shut down. You don't have flavors, the business is going to shut down. People are going, well, I can just do it DIY, do it yourself. And it's a case of, where are you going to get your supplies if shops have to shut down because they haven't got any juices to sell, or they haven't got enough juice to sell on equipment? They shut down. So then where do you get your supplies? Black market, and you know what kind of crap you're going to get there. So business is an important one for bringing up with them. How it affects the community and how it will raise the healthcare costs. If you need any help, just ask myself or ask people from THRA, the consumer group. Just ask for help, and there are a lot of people willing to give you advice or even lead you along the way. And if there's somebody local in your area, hopefully we can find someone too. Anyhow, like I said, going to keep it real short tonight. I'm busy going through that S-5, Bill S-5, tobacco vaping federal regulations. And it may not sound too bad until you start cross-referencing what acts and clauses it's actually changing. It's not pretty. Don't believe that it's a great thing. Yes, some parts are needed, but it's not. It serves one purpose, and that's to give Health Canada control. And Health Canada has tried shutting down the industry for years. They might finally have a chance to. Anyhow, I'll get back to you hopefully next week. I should be able to bring in a lot more information about this bill and hopefully cover some of the taxes. And in the US, they've got age raises and so on. If you have a topic you want me to cover in detail, just drop a message, or even better, so I don't miss it, just go to the Vape Distortion group page on Facebook and leave a post there underneath the video when I post this one up on there, and list out some of the topics or things that you're curious about, or if you have any questions, put them in there and I'll see what I can do to answer. And hopefully we'll catch you again next time. Thanks again all. Bye now.